It is week 2 of the 2021 preseason on Madden NFL 21. Coming off a disappointing road loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Washington football team returned to Landover, Maryland for their second preseason tilt. The Lions, coming off a loss of their own against Tom Brady and the Super Bowl 55 champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Taylor Heinicke and Terry McLaurin led Washington to a first quarter lead in week 1 before it all unraveled and they got shut out in the second half. The Matthew Stafford-led Lions held their own first quarter lead before the backups came in last week. For both teams, turnovers were the story of their week 1 losses. Rookie quarterback Tyler Huntley threw 2 interceptions against the Tampa Bay backups, while Kyle Allen threw a dispiriting 5 picks against Pittsburgh. Now, the starters would get an entire half to work today, but certainly plenty of eyes would be on the backups' performances in the second half of this one. Antonio Gibson had a solid preseason debut last week with 7 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown in 1 quarter of work. Washington won the toss and elected to defer to the second half, an interesting decision given it could mean 1 less offensive series for starting quarterback Taylor Heinicke. So, Matt Stafford would get first crack. He was coming off a modest 48-yard outing on 7 passing attempts a week ago. Stafford came out firing, finding his star receiver Kenny Golladay for a 20-yard gain on a deep route in the middle of Washington's zone on the first play from scrimmage. Read the middle linebacker perfectly. You'll see it on the replay here. As soon as the linebacker takes that shallow crossing route, Stafford delivers a dart over the middle to Golladay. A few plays later on the drive, Washington is forced a third down. Stafford finds the third-year tight end out of Iowa, T.J. Hawkinson, on a quick throw to move the chains. Strong throw here. Stafford got the ball out quickly before the outside linebacker had time to react. 2 plays later, Stafford has his 4th completion to his 4th different receiver already. This time he finds rookie tight end Eric Parker as he gets separation on the deep corner route against Washington's cover 1 defense. Parker with a little dance as he gets the ball down inside the 10-yard line. Nobody was even near him on this throw as Danny Trevathan gave up too much space and reacted too slowly to catch up to the play. A couple plays later, Washington is forced a 3rd and goal at the 2, and free agent signee Marlon Mack carries the ball across the goal line to open the scoring. The start of a big day for Mack. We'll see plenty more of him over the course of the first half, and the Lions got a hell of a deal on Mack, signing the 5th-year pro out of USF to a 1-year $790,000 deal after the draft when he failed to get an offer during the offseason free agency period. Mack looking to make 32 teams wish that they had gave him a little bit more money in that free agency signing period. Following the Lions' touchdown, they kick off. Taylor Heinicke gets set for his first snaps of the game after this return from Matt Vernon, the 2nd-round draft pick for Washington. We'll see plenty more of him in the second half. Now, Heinicke generated buzz last season after giving the Buccaneers defense arguably their toughest game of the 2020 postseason, despite them facing Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes on the way to that Super Bowl win. After a couple of rush attempts by Antonio Gibson, Washington finds themselves in a 3rd and long situation for Heinicke's first pass attempt of the game. And you see it there, a 19-yard pass hauled in by Terry McLaurin with the defender right on him. Great concentration by McLaurin, but also good pocket presence here and an accurate throw delivered by Heinicke as Washington avoids the 3-and-out following Detroit's game-opening touchdown drive. 2 plays later, we get J.D. McKissick, his first touch of the preseason. He takes the handoff up the gut with a nice sidestep on the back end of a 13-yard run, and he moves the chains for Washington. Now, McKissick is a guy who was mostly used in the passing game in 2020, but here he shows he can work between the tackles when his number is called. That sidestep, puts his hand out, keeps his balance, and picks up a couple extra yards on the back end of that run. Antonio Brown didn't enter the stat sheet last week against his old Pittsburgh Steelers team, so his first catch with his new team came on this 2nd and 11 play. A 19-yard reception. Heineke got enough protection to let the slant route develop a little more than you normally let it. Antonio Brown, coming off the Super Bowl victory in Tampa Bay last February, signed a 2-year, $16.9 million deal with Washington this offseason. And then, on the very next play, McKissick goes in motion. Antonio Gibson takes advantage of a huge hole created by his offensive line on the way to a 17-yard touchdown scamper. Gibson gathers his teammates up for a little dance in the end zone, his second touchdown of the preseason already. And like Mack, it was the beginning of a big day for him as well. Can see Lions safety Deron Harmon tried to beat him to the goal line, but Gibson had just enough of an angle to get there and tie up the game. After forcing the Lions 3-and-out, Washington regained possession, and Heineke wasted no time in targeting Scary Terry in the middle of the field once again. The third-year receiver out of Ohio State found space on the deep slant and made it a 21-yard play when all was said and done. He even threw in a bit of a stiff arm before being taken down here. Washington picked up another first down, and then on the last play of the first quarter, Washington's offensive line finally breaks down as Heineke wound up and tried to thread the needle to McLaurin again, and Deshaun Hand and Trey Flowers reached him. Ultimately, honestly, a good job by Heineke just to tuck the ball back into his body to avoid the fumble. So we reach the first quarter break. It's a tie game, 7-7. And on the next play, the first play of the second quarter, Antonio Gibson makes Heineke's ball control pay off as he takes this screen pass, turns upfield, navigates the defense, and converts a 2nd and 18 into a first down. You'll see Heineke just let the screen develop here. And then on the back end, McLaurin not even blocking. Or Gibson might have turned to even more than 23 yards. He might have been surprised that Gibson had already gotten there. A couple plays later, McLaurin's big day continues as he finds enough space to pick up another Washington first down here. Right over the middle of the field. They got to know that route quite a bit in this one. And with their backs getting ever closer to the wall and Washington back in the red zone, Detroit needed a big play, and that is just what Deshaun Hand delivered. Getting into the backfield again, and this time Heineke unable to maintain possession of the football. Rookie defensive end out of Notre Dame, Marquise Sherwood, scoops the ball and fairly lumbered down the length of the field for a 67-yard return off the fumble. A big play delivered by the Detroit defense with Washington threatening to take the lead. Heineke just couldn't hold on to it. After all but having their way with the Lions defense on the first pair of possessions, Washington suffered a 3-and-out. And Stafford linked up with T.J. Hawkinson again on this 2nd and 6 play. And then Marlon Mack let everybody know he's worth more than $800,000. He spins out of the Cole Holcomb tackle, enters a foot race to the end zone, and had just enough in the tank to step through the goal line tackle by Kendall Fuller and Landon Collins. Marlon Mack, such an explosive player when he was in Indianapolis, suffered that season-ending injury in week 1 of the 2020 season. And he told everybody, I am back. So, finding themselves suddenly in a 14-point hole, Washington desperately needed to put something together on offense, and to their credit, they pieced together a good-looking drive. It started slowly with an incompletion and 2-yard run by Gibson before Heineke hooked up with Antonio Brown here to convert this 3rd and long. Brown showing great hands as he pulled in the throw from low and behind him. Just look at that body control. Such a talented receiver. After converting a second 3rd down with a short plunge by Peyton Barber, yet another 3rd down found Heineke and McLaurin hooking up on a familiar pattern on that deep crossing route into traffic. They've been working on the timing for this route all offseason, and it paid off big time in this game. So Washington would face a 4th 3rd down of the drive. This time Heineke looking for his tight end Logan Thomas on the corner route. A solid throw and a good effort by Thomas, but Roby Coleman was there to contest the throw and forced Washington to settle for the 41-yard field goal by Dustin Hopkins to cut Detroit's lead to 21-10. Fast forward the next drive, Marlon Mack not done feasting. He took 3 straight carries to open the Lions' next drive, including this 14-yarder right up the gut on 2nd and 9. Following a pair of completions to Jakeem Grant and an incompletion to Mack, the Lions ran their own screen, and Marlon Mack responded to Antonio Gibson's opening play of the quarter with his own big run after the catch. Just like Heineke earlier, lets that screen develop. A nice play by Stafford and by Marlon Mack. Needing a big play late in the half, already trailing by 2 scores, Cole Holcomb makes up for his missed tackle on Mack's touchdown run by reading Stafford's eyes and picking off an errant throw, setting up his offense for a 2-minute drill with 90 seconds and all 3 timeouts to their credit. Heineke stands in the pocket here, delivers a strike on the corner route to Terry McLaurin on the first play of the drive. Just no fear from Taylor Heineke. You're going to see on this replay, the defender was closing in on him. Right here, McLaurin got some separation and Heineke put it right where it needed to be. Gets out of bounds, stops the clock. Steven Sims is going to find some space over the middle for a 14-yard gain on the next play, and Washington entered the hurry-up. Heineke found Sims again on 1st down, and then, right here, and then it was the Heineke-Gibson show for the rest of the half. Gibson gets open underneath on the angle route for the 1st down. Washington called their first timeout. And then coming out of the timeout, Gibson runs a nice pivot route to get open in the flat. Heineke got it to him, and Antonio turned it upfield for 19 yards. And he even got out of bounds, saving a timeout. Just a really nice pivot route. Beats the defender. The defender takes a bad angle, and Gibson makes him pay for it. And like I said, save the timeout, but it turns out they didn't need it. On 1st down from the 10-yard line, Heineke drops back, sees a gap in the zone near where Gibson's wheel route takes him into the end zone, delivers it right into the gap. Gibson with another touchdown dance, his 2nd of the game, 3rd of the preseason. You can just see him go up for it, come down with it, and secure it before contact for a big-time touchdown, pulling Washington to within 4 points. And that basically took us to the half. A few more plays, but nothing of importance. In all, a pretty even first half. Gibson and Mack, the running backs, the stories of the half both in the ground game and in the pass game. That one drive Washington had on which they had to settle for a field goal ultimately was the difference. And the broadcast gave us a couple more looks. First at Sherwood's touchdown return. And then at Gibson's catch in the end zone near the end of the half. The good news for Washington, having deferred in the first half, their offense got to come out and begin the second half. Get a little return here up to the 28-yard line, and that is where the Washington offense would take over. Kyle Allen threw those 5 picks a week earlier, and the question today was how Ron Rivera would manage him in the second half. The opening snap was given to Matt Vernon, their rookie back out of North Carolina. They took him late in the second round. Vernon had 8 carries for 40 yards against Pittsburgh, and Ron Rivera said before this game that he'd earned a larger workload today if Washington could keep it in their game script. The next 2 plays to Vernon netted 6 yards, and Washington had to put it in Allen's hands on third down. A short pass over the middle to another second-round pick, rookie receiver Harold Howard out of Oregon State netted another first down, and Washington was on the march. Washington's offense focused on short, easy completions for Allen to try and get his confidence up in this first drive. Another third down, another Kyle Allen pass. This time he finds Kelvin Harmon on the curl out of the slot, moves the chains again, and at this point Washington has reached 300 yards of offense in the game. It's a good read, a low throw, and a good catch, and secured by Kelvin Harmon. Now a fourth down run by Peyton Barber. And there was no replay on the broadcast. I'm not so sure he got there, but the ref signaled first down. Detroit didn't challenge the call. And on the next play, or a couple plays later rather, Kelvin Harmon found a soft spot inside the 10 for another first down catch. And then 2 plays later, Harold Howard finds the end zone for the touchdown. His first of the preseason. I'm sure we'll be celebrating his first official touchdown in a few weeks in the regular season. He's trying to leapfrog Steven Sims and Kelvin Harmon on the depth chart, but for now, he'll take one in the preseason as a stepping stone in his NFL journey. It's a great job as the ball was low and even more behind him than that earlier throw to Antonio Brown. Washington's opening drive ate up more than 9 minutes, and their defense quickly forced a 3-and-out against Tyler Huntley. Kyle Allen gets the ball back. First play of the drive, Harold Howard picks up where he left off. Running that route, we saw so much from McLaurin in the first half, and for which Detroit seemed to have no answer all evening. Washington ended up going essentially 4-and-out, 3-and-out after this play. Detroit followed in kind, and then that basically took us to the end of the quarter. Tyler Huntley was injured on a 3-yard run at the end of the Lions' 3-and-out. But Washington had the ball again when the third quarter break arrived. It's a 2nd and 8 to begin the quarter. Matt Vernon carries for 9 yards. Another Washington first down. And everything is going Washington's way right now. Can see him just right up the gut. Some good run blocking from Washington's offensive line. But I said for right now, that might have been some foreshadowing, because on the next play, running up the gut, Mark Barron closed the hole, laid a huge hit on Vernon, forced the fumble, and Teddy Amos is there to scoop it up. And suddenly the Lions found themselves near field goal range, trailing by 3 early in the fourth quarter. Interceptions, the story of Washington's offense last week. Fumbles, the issue today. So, with Huntley hurt, David Blau comes in. Suddenly, Washington's lockdown defense, not so locked down. He made quick work. He found Tom Kennedy underneath right here to move the chains. A couple plays later, he links up with DeAndre Swift for a fresh set of downs. Just froze the defensive back. And then Swift did the rest, taking the first down carry here, down near the goal line. And then 2 plays later, he finds pay dirt. He finds no hole, so he reverses direction, and he beats John Bostic off tackle around his offensive line and into the end zone. So trailing once again, Washington had some trouble and took a delay of game before Matt Vernon took this 1st and 15 carry up the gut, found enough room for the first down. 2 plays later, actually, let's get the replay first. Vernon, he had a nice game on the ground. Despite the fumble, everything else he did seemed pretty positive for this one. A couple plays later, it's 2nd and 10. Allen drops back, and you see the blitzer off the edge. Sean Dion Hamilton gets into the backfield and sacks Allen for a huge loss. You'll see on the replay, he was completely untouched off the edge, and Washington was forced to punt and turn to their defense for a stop. Now, Washington did force a 3rd and 1 here, but DeAndre Swift picks it up, follows a nice block up the middle, a little spin move at the end. Bit of a disappointing moment here for Washington fans as they hoped to get the ball back, but a play later, Jimmy Moreland picks them right back up. Lurking down around the flat, Moreland sees Blau wind up to target Eric Parker near the sideline and breaks on the ball, picking it off in stride. Nobody in between him and the end zone. A game-changing play by the 3rd-year cornerback out of James Madison University. Detroit gets the ball back. His mind's still racing from giving up the lead on the interception. Blau can't find anywhere to go with the ball and backpedals. Deron Payne breaks through his offensive line. Payne makes contact, and as Blau tries to spin out of it, Chad Thomas right there to clean it up and register the other half of the sack. In all, a loss of 18 yards, and it brought about another Detroit punt with less than 5 minutes to play. So, holding a 3-point lead, starting their drive on the right side of the 50, Peyton Barber takes the handoff and appears to have been the 3rd Washington player to cough up the football today. Hand already has a couple big defensive plays today and appears to have stripped the ball for Hamilton to recover. You see the initial replays here, and we would get another look at those as this play would be reviewed. Detroit's offense came onto the field, but before they got a chance to run their next play, we get the call down from the booth. They're going to look at this one. And I want you to take a look at these replays because I don't see anything definitive, right? Let's pretend for a moment we can't tell from Madden's ball lock mechanism on the camera. I don't see anything definitive here that says that he didn't fumble the football. But this play was overturned and Washington retained possession. A big break for Washington. So fast forward a few plays. It's 3rd and 7. Kyle Allen finds his tight end Dylan Cantrell. Now, Cantrell led Washington in receptions a week ago with 5 catches against the Steelers. This was his only catch of the night, but a big one as it moves the chains and gets them a first down, a 12-yard gain here. Washington trying to milk that clock. A couple plays later, Vernon picks up 9 yards on a 2nd and 10 carry, but he failed to convert on 3rd down, and Dustin Hopkins came on to try and make this a 6-point game, but no! It's an absolute shank of an attempt. It sailed almost left of the scoreboard, and Detroit regained possession with less than 2 minutes remaining in regulation. And you can see Ron Rivera beside himself on the sideline. David Blau leads his guys onto the field for the 2-minute drill. The first 2 plays of the drive both went for big chunks. First, we've got Hunter Bryant catching this one for a 12-yard gain. Then, a play later, Antonio Callaway rips off a 26-yarder running down the seam. But that was all the Lions would get. Blau in the hurry-up gets the snap, tries to force it to Cameron Batson on the post, and Troy Apke is there to pick him off. A terrific play by the former Nittany Lion. He knows that's a big play, potentially a game sealer. Of course, Detroit does have 3 timeouts, and as it turned out, Detroit did force a 3-and-out, so they'd have one final shot with 12 seconds left. But first, an incompletion here. Washington's offense on the sideline celebrating. A few moments away from victory. Another incompletion here. And with no time on the clock, Blau heaves it downfield. And that one falls incomplete as well. Washington won the turnover battle this time out. That made all the difference. A great bounce-back game for Washington. It's only the preseason. These games don't matter in the grand scheme of things, but still nice to have the right number in the win column. They will host the Tennessee Titans next week in preseason week 3, so come back for my next video as we continue our road to the regular season.